Hey, it's Dorleen. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my creative life. So I finally got around to adding some of my art into my craft room, and then I saw this wooden D and I thought there is no way I'm hanging that up just plain. So I grabbed some acrylic paint and I decided I'm going to paint this D. Now, because I don't like to waste any paint, I also pulled out my little golden book junk journal, and so I'm going to be adding some flowers, basically doing the exact same thing, but in the junk journal. So I'm just grabbing a combination of blue and white, and I'm trying to do like little X motions to add some variety of blue. I didn't want it to just be flat, but you have to be careful when you have just white on white, because I also didn't want it to look like, hey, she missed a couple of spots. So I added some silver and just kind of gave it just some wonkiness. Again, you can really see the X's here, but I didn't want it to look like X's either. So I'm just kind of playing around with it until I get a pretty good coverage. Now here's my junk journal. Now again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just using up the rest of the paint, and there's not a whole lot on the blue and silver, and that's okay. I'm just kind of, look at me, I'm just basically scribbling. Now Ayana, my niece, who has become a new member, I can't believe I never even told her that I had a channel, but girl, I'm going to come and we're going to work and create a junk journal, and you're going to love it. We're going to do some painting when I get there the next time I see you. So shout out to my niece Ayana, love you. So now back to the project. So between every color change, I am cleaning my brush, but make sure that after you wet it really well is that you use some kind of blotting cloth or napkin or whatever it is you have to really dry it, because when you're using acrylic paint, if you don't dry your brush or if you have too much water, it kind of works like a watercolor. And if you're looking for that effect, hey, fabulous, do it. But if you're not, make sure you just dry between layers. So right now I'm just grabbing a combination of red, white, and this coral color, and these are going to be roses. So right now I'm just doing some wonky circles, and I say wonky because can anybody really draw a perfect circle? Probably not. I'm also doing 3 within the D, and I'll do 3 on the junk journal as well, because every thing is better in groups of 3 or odd numbers. Now, the reason why that is because when you think of a triangle, you see if you looked at all 3 points, your eyes are moving around the image, and that's what you want. You want people to look around your artwork or your piece so that it adds more interest. So when I'm adding all the different layers, like you could see the white, so I went around the edges of the flowers, and I did a little bit more like a jaggedy end or a rounded end, floral end, however you want to say it. But now it looks a little bit more like a flower versus just some red blobs of circles. And so that's just a little tip. Now, the more dimension or more layers of dark and white, the more it's going to look like a rose or some sort of flower. Now, basically what I do is after I do the kind of curviness around the edge, I make kind of a series of C's or backward C's to have the look of petals. Now, I still had paint left over, so on that left side of the junk journal, I'm just drawing some circles here and there, just basically to get rid of paint, because again, I hate wasting paint. And we're going to get back to the red later, because it seems like the more you work with stuff, the more you realize you just want to do more and more and more and more, and eventually you have to tell yourself to stop, because it's not going to get any better. So now I'm working on 3 yellow flowers. Now, I'm not even sure what these flowers are, but in my mind, they are hydrangeas, and I don't even know if there's such things as yellow hydrangeas, but I do know there's white ones, so maybe by the time I'm done, it'll look more white than yellow. But I'm basically doing the same thing. But this time, instead of just kind of straight painting, I'm actually kind of using my paintbrush in like an up and down, kind of like a blotting motion, just to get a little wispiness and not just like a solid color. And then I'm doing the same thing with the leaves, a dark, a lighter, and a white, and just kind of the same thing. I use the exact same brush for all of these portions because basically I was being too lazy to grab a smaller brush, but that might be something you might want to do with the leaves, just a little smaller brush, because there were some parts where it got a little blobby, but the nice thing is with the highlights, it really made up for all that. And I'm just adding leaves here and there and everywhere, no really particular order. So I mentioned earlier that I'm doing the I'm painting my D obviously, but I'm using the rest of the paint on in my junk journal. So I wanted to just do a little advertisement, I guess. If you're interested in the junk journal or working, either creating one or just seeing some of my art, I do have a junk journal and a mixed media playlist. So make sure you go to my playlist and check those out. I have so much fun in the junk journal. It's so for some reason, I just feel like I could do anything I want in there, where I feel like there's rules and stuff when I'm scrapbooking or making cards or this and that. And I know it's silly. I'm just making those rules up for my own self, but it's just so much fun in here. I don't know why I'm not in here more often. And look at this. It's so, what's the word? It's like there's such a big variety. Like I could do whatever I want. And if I don't like it, I just paint over it. And if I do like it, I just got this really pretty print. I know it seems silly, but anyhow, so check out those playlists. I think you'll enjoy it. So anyhow, back to the project at hand. Again, I'm just using up the paint that's on the palette there, and you notice that on this one, when I was doing some of that pouncing, there's some green in the flowers, and I did not like that. So I'm going through with this mixture of, it's an apricot colored paint, and which is giving it a little bit darker colors, and some white because I didn't want it to be so orangey. And I'm just, again, just kind of pouncing up and down, not necessarily polka dots, but not polka dots, if that makes any sense. I just wanted some color variety, and I'm going to use a lot of white in there as well. But the more variety that you use, the more dimension you're giving your piece. So you can see there all that dimension, and just, it's, you don't need to know how to paint the perfect flower. Again, I don't even know what kind of flower this is. In my mind, it's a hydrangea, but just the fact that I have these, leaves and the floral colors all together, if you're looking at this, it's a flower. You might not be saying, oh God, what kind of flower? That can't be a flower because it doesn't make sense in nature, because it doesn't matter, right? So anyhow, so I love me some splatter. So that's what I'm doing here. I just grabbed more of that silver paint and added a lot of water to this because I do want it to splatter, and the more water you have, the easier it is to splatter. Now you probably saw me earlier, I painted the blue on the outside of the D, and I completely forgot about the inside. So even though a lot of the inside pieces have the reds and the yellow and the white from the flowers, I just kind of filled in with the silver, and I'm just using a paint pen to, again, kind of add more splotches because I really wanted this with more dimension and more purpose, I guess. But look at how pretty that is. And I didn't show it, but I did little black dots in the middle of the roses with another black paint pen. And that's pretty much it, folks. Now, the junk journal ends up with a completely different look, and you'll see it at the end. But it's so much fun, and I just really enjoyed it, and I hope you do too. So give me a thumbs up if you like this. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do post 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking, and the other is whatever it is I'm creating in the command center, which is my craft room and my blog, and just so happens to be in my junk journal and just some random painting. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty how it ended up? Thanks for watching. Bye.